Welcome to Chelgrave Contracting Australia, and thank you for joining our team. Chelgrave Contracting is one of the longest established labour hire companies in Australia. As a family-run and operated business, Chelgrave prides itself on developing close relationships with our employees, with some being employed by Chelgrave for more than 25 years. We are proud that all of our operations team are qualified tradespeople. This means that we understand trades and know the difference between a welder and a boilermaker, a turner and a tool maker, and all the aspects of fitters, electricians and instrument technicians. It is for these reasons I am sure you will enjoy working with us. This induction and the associated modules aims to provide the information you should know about working with Chelgrave.
Zero harm. Chelgrave has adopted the zero harm philosophy to build a safety culture that underpins the way in which we operate. Our zero harm philosophy aims to build a positive culture of safety in all Chelgrave workplaces to help reduce the number and severity of workplace health and safety incidents. The concept of zero harm means no harm to anyone, anytime, while at work. While some arguably contest the feasibility of zero harm, nonetheless, conceptually, Chelgrave aspire towards this as an ultimate goal. Our Zero Harm program. This is an ongoing forum to foster and promote leadership in workplace health and safety. Examples of good practices and lessons learnt that can assist other workplaces to improve. It motivates and encourages workplaces to strive for the goal of zero harm at work. If zero is not the goal, what is? It promotes the adoption of a zero harm at work culture through cooperation and knowledge sharing. About Chelgrave. Chelgrave was established in 1979 and is one of Australia's longest established labour hire companies. Chelgrave are specialists in ticketed, that is Cert 1, 2 and licensed personnel, riggers, scaffolders, forklift drivers. Trades, which are fitters, electricians, boilermakers, carpenters, instrument technicians, motor and diesel mechanics. And technical staff, engineers, drafting, supervisory and management, scientific and technical. Work health and safety policy. Our commitment to eliminating work-related illness and injury will be attained by ensuring compliance with all applicable relevant legislation, codes of practice and standards, availability of uniform risk management and consultation processes to adequately control risks in the workplace, equipment and substances are safe and without risk to health when properly used, provision, monitoring and maintenance of safe systems of work for the use, handling, storage and transportation of equipment and substances, the provision of adequate facilities for health, safety and welfare of all employees, the identification and provision of appropriate work health and safety training and dissemination of relevant work health and safety information to all employees, the provision of appropriate supervision for all employees, consultation with all employees to enhance the effectiveness of the work health and safety management system, the provision of adequate resources, including finances, to facilitate the fulfilment of the company's work health and safety responsibilities, continual improvement towards progressing overall performance by monitoring work health and safety outcomes against performance indicators on an annual basis and integrating work health and safety into the company's overall strategic development, and communication of this policy through the organisation-wide training. Ask your representative for a copy or see the website at chelgrave.com.au. Working safely. In assisting Chelgrave reach its goal of zero harm, always wear appropriate personal protective equipment, follow and comply with client site safety procedures, take care for your own health and safety and the health and safety of others who may be affected by your actions, take action to avoid, eliminate or minimise hazards, report all incidents, injuries and near misses immediately, actively participate in the management of OH&S risks, and not willfully place at risk the health, safety or well-being of others at the workplace. Be familiar with emergency and evacuation procedures and cooperating with directions from emergency or evacuation wardens. Be aware of site hazards and keep to designated walkways unless your work requires you to enter a production or work area. Do not use equipment if you are not licensed to do so, for example, drive a forklift. Do not perform any high-risk work you are not licensed to do. That is, confined space entry, use of an EWP, and scaffolding, just to name a few. Lockout tagout. Do not work on machinery without electrically and mechanically isolating it and locking and tagging out the machine. The basic procedure is identify all sources of energy, notify people affected, shut down the equipment, lock out the equipment, tag out the equipment, and test for lockout effectiveness. Clients may have procedures that differ from each other. You must ensure you are familiar with the site procedure. Musculoskeletal injuries are the greatest cause of injury in our business. As we have an ageing workforce, these injuries may be aggravation of tissue that has been stressed for a long time or because our bodies are losing condition. With cooperation from our clients, we emphasise using the correct lifting technique. Straight back, bend knees, keep load as close as possible, walk upright with load close to body, use lifting aids wherever possible or a second person to assist. If an item is too heavy to comfortably move with or without aids or assistance, do not attempt it. A risk assessment may be required. Handheld tools can be used safely if you follow these guidelines. Always inspect handheld tools prior to use. Make sure to remove any defective tool from service. Select the correct tool for the job. Do not use a tool for anything other than its intended purpose. If you see a co-worker using a hand tool incorrectly, stop them and suggest the correct method. Do not use improvised hand tools. All too often handles are ineffective. Incorrect steels, if used in their construction, may not be suitable for impact, stress or flexation required, resulting in the tool failure and injury. Use of knives. Knives are one of the leading causes of injury with Chelgrave employees. Knives are now not allowed at all for electrical work. Cable should be trimmed and stripped using the appropriate types of cable strippers. Knives used generally must be auto-retractable units. Use. A knife is used for cutting and cutting only. Never use a knife as a screwdriver or prying tool. When you do need a knife, make sure it is an auto-retracting type. Never use a defective knife, such as one with a broken handle, blade or retracting spring. Always be sure the knife is sharp. Always make cuts away from your body. Do not use too much pressure to cut. Dull knives lead to injury because more pressure is needed to make a cut, and this can result in slips. Never throw a knife. Assistance to work safely. Call your Chelgrave representative if you need any assistance or safety equipment, including overalls. Call your Chelgrave representative if you have any concerns about client procedures affecting your safety that cannot be resolved or you do not feel comfortable about trying to resolve. Workplace bullying and harassment. According to Beyond Blue, 1 in 2 Australians experience workplace bullying during their lives. Chelgrave is committed to the prevention of workplace bullying and considered it to be an unacceptable form of behaviour and will not tolerate it under any circumstances. Employees and contractors must also accept responsibility for their actions towards others in the workplace and must not take part in any bullying or violent behaviour. Participation in the bullying of others could result in the end of your assignment. Drugs and alcohol. Employees should not be under the influence of alcohol or drugs during working hours and must at all times carry out their duties and responsibilities in a safe manner. If anyone suspects that another employee is working while impaired by or under the influence of alcohol or drugs, he or she should immediately report this situation to their supervisor. Our clients may conduct random drug and alcohol tests. You will be required to comply with a request for testing. An employee on prescribed medication should check with their doctor to ascertain whether the use of the drug will impact on their performance, particularly the impact on their ability to operate machinery or a motor vehicle. If this is the case, the employee should advise their supervisor and Chelgrave area representative. It is the responsibility of employees to comply with these guidelines and inform the company and request assistance if they have an ongoing drug or alcohol problem or addiction that is likely to adversely affect their work performance. It is the responsibility of managers and supervisors to ensure these guidelines are enforced on a day-to-day basis, direct any employee reasonably suspected of being under the influence of drugs or alcohol away from the work area, direct employees to a medical practitioner nominated by the employer where it is reasonably suspected that they are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, arrange for transport home for any employee under the influence of drugs or alcohol, counsel any employees who are found to be in breach of these guidelines, and authorise appropriate assistance for an employee whose performance is affected by drugs and or alcohol. Our Code of Conduct. Remember, you are the face of Chelgrave. We rely on you to represent us in a professional manner. Be courteous and professional. Our customers expect service. You need to be keeping busy and achieving results for them. Your challenge is to keep yourself on the job as long as possible due to good work, not stretching out the job. Be prompt and on time. Always ask or inform the client if you need to leave the site early. Minimise standing around talking and always ask for more work to do when you have finished each task. Call the Chelgrave office at least 1 hour prior to starting shift to report absence on 9776 8800. Only smoke in designated areas and during breaks. Only use your mobile phone during breaks. Consult your Chelgrave area representative first for all issues. The full code of conduct will be provided with this induction. Fraudulent activity. Fraudulent activities are actions such as willfully completing, signing and submitting an incorrect timesheet, for example, claiming for hours not worked, taking items without authorisation from a client's site for personal use, stealing tools, scrap and materials, misrepresenting oneself as an employee or representative of a client without authorisation. This may be the case if you are ordered items from the client's suppliers without authority, whether it be for your own benefit or the client. Employees actively and knowingly participating in fraudulent activities may face dismissal or police intervention. Getting paid. Timesheets for Chelgrave employees shall be completed using the Chelgrave timesheet book provided. Complete your timesheet in full every week. 3 copies, 1 white stays with our client, 1 pink copy for Chelgrave office and 1 green copy stays in your book as your copy. Electronic options for computer-based technical staff are available. The client must sign and approve hours worked and or specific allowances. Chelgrave representative will pick up on Mondays. If missed, call or fax to the office by 4 o'clock PM on a Monday. Pays are processed weekly into your account via EFT. Contact the pay office for queries on pay matters during the hours of 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Your personal details. If you change your address, home or mobile phone number, banking details or email address, please notify Chelgrave as soon as possible. This will minimise any errors or the chance of you missing any work. Further information packs. Links to updates to this induction and its associated modules, as well as additional information such as safety alerts, will be sent to you via email, so it is necessary that the email address we have on our record is always current. It will be assumed that any additional training material sent to you has been received, read and understood, unless a reply to the email stating otherwise is received. If you do not have access to email, please ensure you advise the person interviewing and inducting you. Alternative arrangements will be made. Please complete the General Induction Module quiz on Form FO11, Induction Extension Modules quiz, then proceed to the next module you are required to complete.